Hello everybody, this is Shane with Shane's Books and Review, and I hope you're having a great day today. Things aren't complete yet, so if things look a little weird, sorry. We had a little bit of a problem. Even though on Monday, come about noon, I got to recording, and I edited a quick video, and I had it up. Oh, the glory of YouTube. I guess it was too close to the time that it was going to be released, and it didn't release, so being that this is Friday, and it's 1 o'clock, I did at least release it yesterday, which is a good thing. With that being said, our book today is going to be Past Tense, the Jack Reacher novel, wrote by Lee Child. It is an interesting book. In the Jack Reacher books, there's been like this little formulation that happens where there's a problem whenever he gets to a place, and then he's told about the problem, then he gets into it. The question is this the same type of a thing? Is this book just like every other Jack Reacher book, or is there a new thing to it? As previously mentioned, a lot of the times Jack shows up somewhere and there's a problem and then he's asked to fix it, then we go from there. This time, on the other hand, that doesn't seem to be the issue whatsoever. Jack just happens to be traveling, sees a road sign for a place that he thinks that his dad used to live in, and decides to take the right fork instead of the left fork, and ends up in a very small place. Jack Reacher goes into this town, starts asking for seeing how he can find out if his dad actually did live there or not. Come to find out, there's been a complete redo of the census information. It's been put into computers. All this stuff has been put into computers. So it's very easy for them to research to find out, which starts leading him down a trail. Now, there's a secondary story that's happening as well. During the time that he's looking up the census information, etc., there's not that anybody in the town knows that there's something bad happening for that secondary story, which is actually kind of the primary story. But Jack ends up finding that he can't keep himself out of trouble, which this is Jack Reacher we're talking about. When's he not going to throw a punch? Whenever he feels affronted. To give him credit, at least he gives people options first, which is a good thing. During this story, we get to meet all kinds of different sorts of people. Some of them are kind of the same as what we meet in other books. He does end up, of course, falling in with the police department as usual. He meets somebody that used to be an MP, and there's this whole little discussion about how he did about that. He ends up meeting up with the county lawyer, and that's the person that is probably at the top of the echelon that's mentioned. And they go on back and forth about the census information, why his dad might be missing. It's not that Jack was really looking for the information, but since he's there, why not? Now this takes us down a rabbit hole. We end up looking into more and more about Jack Reacher's past with his dad, his brothers, or cousins. And we'll find out that there's a lot of bird watching, and there's these little hints and things that start to tie together to attach Stan, which is Jack Reacher's father, to this area. The dubiousness about it all is simply this. Stan died 30 years ago, but it appears maybe he didn't die 30 years ago. Jack himself had attended his father's funeral, and it was a close casket. But there's rumors in the town, and there's even some data that suggests that Stan is indeed there, and a professor that really thinks that he still lives in that area. And everything matches up with the 30-year part, so where Jack felt like his father had passed away 30 years back, then the town has this person that comes in was 30 years ago. Now, I'm not going to tell you how all this plays together. No. But if you do like Jack Reacher books, this one's a little bit different. Actually, it's a lot different. One, there hasn't been a tryst yet. And for that, I applaud the Lee Child. Because not every book that Jack Reacher is in need him to get laid. Yes. Now, that secondary story that I mentioned has to do a lot with these two people that are kind of bumbling idiots, but they're nice people. It's not, maybe I shouldn't say bumbling idiots, but anybody else, if they got into that situation, they're so far away from everything else, I don't think they would have put up with the same things that they did. They end up in this really bad situation at the end location where Jack ends up, his little soiree takes him to. Again, I'm not going to tell you about any of that, but that was one of the more interesting things, and almost creepy in a way. There's a lot of characters that are in that story talking about how other characters feel, and that they have to have them prepped just right in order for this to come off the right way. And later on, we'll find out what exactly they meant by that, some of the things that they had done to make sure that those people were really going to be, well, so they wouldn't be so comfortable. So they would be in duress and upset when everything started to come down. But beyond that, there's a couple of characters that you might end up liking and then end up hating. Which, whenever an author does something like that, that's like a little gemstone for me. I always love that sort of a thing. So do I think it's a good book? I actually do. If you're into Jack Reacher, I would say it's probably better than the last 3 or 4 that I've read. Now, whenever it comes down to gritty crime type books or whodunit books, of course, Pendergast, in my humble opinion, that's wrote by Lincoln and Child. Those books are a different caliber altogether. And one of the reasons why I enjoy those so much is because they're complete opposite spectrum from this. Because, Jack, he's kind of got this innate ability to sense out bullcrap and to get to the bottom of things. Plus, he's got the physical composition to take care of things. Lacks a whole lot of finesse. Whereas on the other side of that, Pendergast is really all about that finesse, holding back on particular things and adding here. So, I mean, they're completely different spectrum. I'm not comparing them whatsoever. Really, I'm not. I promise, I'm really not. Because I like the both of them, and I like them for different reasons. That makes me want to ask you, what do you think about those guys? Do you think that Jack Reacher and Aloysius Pendergast, how would they get along? That's my question. I don't think they would. Anyway, moving on along from that, I wanted to say thank you guys and gals for your patience, especially while I'm getting things set up. I know it seems like it's for the forever thing, but when you run a business and then you have to move your own personal items and then you have to move your business items twice, then things kind of get hairy, especially when you try to keep your customers happy and you try to keep the money coming in so you can do what you like and you love. And then on top of that, just all the other stuff that comes along with it. Have you already read this book? If you have, awesome. I'd love to know what you think about it. Tell me down there. Like, share, subscribe. Again, today's book was Past Tense, a Jack Reacher novel, wrote by Lee Child. This is Shane with Shane's Books and Review, and I will see you Monday.